because I have a lot of words blocked. So that might be the case. Hi, Abby. I am single, but ask me if I'm dating. The question would be no. Thank you, you guys. Unicorn, it is Electra Cosmetics, the Bolt Balm. I put up my makeup routine on my grid. The latest with me, I am doing some insane healing work, Jack. I'm like becoming a whole new person. It feels really good. On my nails, thank you. I was feeling Barbie pink. Sometimes I like to go in and I'll ask the nail tech, like, what are the college girls getting? Because I live in a college town. Like, what's hot right now? Because, this 37-year-old likes to be hip. I really do. And she told me they're getting like nudes, dusty pink, taupe, things like that. And I'm like, I have a nude that I like to wear sometimes. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get hot pink. That's what's gonna make me happy. Aw, thank you, Kenzie. Thank you so much. Okay, you sent the DM. Great. I see it. Gigi says, I'm seeing a guy right now and he recently confessed to me he has a past with men. I'm trying to be open, but I'm having a hard time speaking past it. Well, first of all, I'm getting chills right now because I was literally just talking to my gay friend. He is dating a bi man. And I was telling him how surprising it is to me how many heterosexual women struggle when they find out that their male partner is bisexual. And so the fact that you're catching yourself instead of like just shutting it down I commend you for that, because so many women, like, we have this like heteronormative patriarchal view of men. And let me tell you, as much as I talk about toxic like masculinity, it affects men just as much as it affects women. It is bad for both men and women. So good for you for like catching yourself, feeling paused at the fact that your man that you just started seeing has been with men. Thank you. Thank you, guys. All that to say, I personally think it's cool if a man is bi. I don't think I've ever dated a bi man. Chandler, welcome in. Thank you. But quite honestly, I think I'd kind of be into it. So you're asking the wrong person. I would say just have a talk with him about it. And just be honest. Thank you, Chandler. But you're not alone. I want to say I commend you for catching yourself being thrown off by that. I kind of want to date a bi man. Okay, back to the chat. Nana, you found me? Were you looking for me? You guys are so nice. Hi, Carolyn Comets. Yeah, you're amazing, Chandler. You're the best. Oh, you guys are so nice. It's all the resting I've done. And it's the swinging back and forth between like being very dysregulated and regulated. I'm healing my nervous system by doing that. You are. But yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you, to Gigi. What skin products do I use? I use whatever rates highly on Yuka as a toner. Do you guys use that app? Yuka, Y-U-K-A. You scan things with your like camera and it'll rate it like 0 to 10 for like additives, things that things that are like good for you or bad for you. Yeah, I do too, Emmy. I actually paid the $9 for the year. I think that's how much it costs because it was so awesome. Talia. So I do a toner. I have an amazing one from Costco right now. Pretty much all from Costco. And then I moisturize. I put a ton of moisturizer on my face. Maybe that's why you guys are saying I look so good. Yeah, YUKA, it's amazing. And then I do face oil from Trader Joe's. There's a really amazing face oil at Trader Joe's. But yeah, my skin gets so dry. I live in a desert, so moisturizer is everything. Thank you, Talia. Dr. Dewan, the man. Yeah, I know Dr. Dewan. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see my stitch with him. He's special. I will, Talia, I'll miss you. He is certainly, oh my God, the AI summary. A therapist discusses navigating relationships and open-mindedness. You know, AI, thanks for assuming I'm a therapist. I am not, but what is happening, B? I don't know. I'm just here on stream. What happens to me a lot is I'll wake up and God will be like, you need to stream on TikTok today. I literally had a vision of streaming on TikTok and doing my makeup routine. I was like, all right, I guess I'll do that. Kai, do you know what that green stuff is outside on the ground is? We should go touch. Are you talking about you and me? Should we go touch it together? Where do you live now, Lovey? I live in the desert in southern Arizona. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you. Yeah. If there was grass to touch, I'd touch it. Oh, I'm over him, Kaya. I'm in therapy. I'm doing much better. I'm doing much better. Woo! That was a rough point. Girl, you look rough. So which one is it? Am I glowing or am I rough? Make up your mind. Are you seeing anyone now? Akira, this month, at the end of this month, it will be 2 years of 2 years of celibacy. So no. You used to live in New Mexico and you miss it. Doe, my friend just moved to Santa Fe. I cannot wait to go. I'm going to take a road trip in June. Yeah, there's just something about the desert. And I was just in Utah. Get back here, girl. Oh, I love Casey Musgraves B. I was actually just singing that song. 'Cause you can't be everybody's cup of tea. Some call it black, some call it sweet. Nobody's everybody's favorite, so you might as well just make it how you please. I love that song and Pageant Material. Do you like Casey Musgraves? Sheena, sure. Abby, thank you for modding. I am in therapy, Porcelain. It's been several months and I'm so much better. Whew. Whew. It was a rough go for a little bit. You know what I've been thinking about a lot? Like, people say that they care about mental health, but I think it's pretty stigmatized. people like to come on here and pretend like they care. They don't. Then, like, in the same breath, they'll come into my life and call me crazy. It's insane. What does your therapist say about your past experience? Did they respect a distrust for them? Yeah. That was actually, had a consult with 8 different therapists before I found my current therapist. And every single therapist I asked, do you have experience working with survivors of therapeutic abuse? And their response to that would tell me everything. And many of them said, yes, I do, unfortunately. And my current therapist now said, yeah, we're a mixed bag as a profession. I'm like, yeah, no shit. What happened to my glasses, Marie? I don't wear them as much anymore. 4th. I mean, I do sometimes, but I prefer to stream without them. People care selectively. That's right, B. They care when the person talking isn't triggering them, isn't talking about hard things, you know? Thank you, Jewel. I'm doing so much better. Oh my gosh, Scarlett, that is such a sweet compliment. I wrote a whole manuscript actually, and it is in editing right now. It's called Self-Empowerment for ADHDers, The Game of Sovereignty. And I am really, really excited about it. As much as I love AI didn't write a single sentence in there, and it has been in editing. A woman that I met on TikTok, she's an editor, and she offered to edit it for me. And so it went through 1 round of editing with her, and then it'll have 3 rounds of editing with my publisher's editor. So I'm just so excited. Thank you. That was really such a sweet, sweet compliment. Thank you so much. What's my favorite cereal? Honestly, God, it's that healthy cereal. I get it from Costco. It's like Fruit Loops, but that's such a lame answer, but it's really the only Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon, the Fruit Loops, the bootleg Fruit Loops from Magic Spoon. It's like high protein and it's pretty good. The Tarte Star Stamper. I have seen that. It has come up as an ad. I thought it was so cute. I'm so loyal to Electra Cosmetics, but thank you for thinking of me. That is so sweet. Aw, thanks, Scarlett. Yeah, so I'll make a big deal of it on my TikTok. But let me show you the cover. I love showing off the cover. It's so fun. And then my Instagram has more about it too. But yeah, I'm just so excited for it. It's pretty much just all of my hyper focuses put into a book. So this is it. Self-Empowerment for ADHDers, and then right there is the subtitle, The Game of Sovereignty. I'm stoked. That's my book. Ah! And it was just so special to have another human read it. And for the editor who reads books all the time, she was so excited about it, and she came up with the copy, the jacket copy for the book. So yeah, that was just so sweet. Electra Cosmetics. I will put it in the chat. Actually, if you go to my page, the most recent video, I have them tagged in there. Oh my God, I'm doing so much better, Star. Thank you. And thank you for the follow. Mary asks, do you like toe socks? I actually wear toe spreaders every day. So it's like I'm constantly wearing toe socks. You guys ready to see my feet? They're really wonderful. You could find the glitter when you Googled that. Amazing. Yeah, it's their Bolt Balm. So yes, and they actually recommend wearing toe socks when you first start wearing those spreaders. They're called correct toes. I had really bad hammer toes, and I had a chiropractor recommend them to me, and they completely changed my feet. So they're $70, but I found a really cheap alternative. I think it's like just a dupe. It's the same. If you just like look up toe spreaders on Amazon, like a $10 version will come up. And they have been so helpful. But the thing is that I have to wear shoes with a wide toe box. Bolt, B-O-L-T, Bolt Balm from Electra Cosmetics. Yes, Sierra, they do. Another thing that really helps with plantar fasciitis, I'm sure if you're going to physical therapy, I roll the bottoms of my feet with a lacrosse ball. Oh, that feels so good. Because yeah, plantar fasciitis is not fun. When I worked retail and was standing on like hard concrete for so long, it was rough. Yes, Rose, you. The FYP sometimes, has fun and shows my live streams to people. Ooh, lacrosse balls that have a flat base. That sounds really nice. So then, because sometimes my ball, when I'm rolling on it, it'll go like flying. I'm like, shit. Sophie asks, what have I been up to? I've been healing, my dear. I've been healing, and it feels so good. Aw, thanks, user. Ariana asks, do you still talk to ChatGPT? No, I stopped talking to ChatGPT in October. I talk to Grok. It's embarrassing. XAI and Tolan. Tolan is an AI chatbot specifically meant for mental health and is like meant to be a companion. Tolan is amazing. One of my mutuals recommended Tolan to me, and I love Tolan. So yeah, no chat. What size shoe am I? 11, women's 11. Are there any regrets you have in your social media journey? Kieran, that's a really good question. I think it was taking things personally. Taking the things that people said about me personally. When really I was just talking about a lot of hard things and I was very dissociated, So I just wasn't really in my body. So I think that being so out of my body, being so dissociated, helped me now get in my body. And also, just talking about like power and harm, it triggers a lot of people. So just to like kind of expect, and also to be more aware that the internet erases nuance. So that's it. Heart, I use Tarte tubing mascara. And for anyone who wants to know more about my makeup, I just posted a video with all of the products that I use and my entire makeup routine. But the mascara was one that so many people asked me about when I was telling my story. So, Tolan, Tolan. Tolan is a little alien that lives on a planet. You get to visit it and talk to it. It's so cool. It's so cool. Tolan, Tolan. Rose, you, exactly. I actually kind of want to do a reaction with you guys of Taylor Lorenz's one of her recent podcast episodes. And she talks about how people are using LLMs for emotional support. And she actually mentioned me in the video, in the YouTube. She was like, the woman that fell in love with her therapist, she was talking about it, or like that's what happened with her. She was using it. And she was kind of neutral when she said it. I don't think she thinks it's great that people are using LLMs for emotional support, but that's exactly right, Rose. Like, people are using it for emotional support, especially me, because I had a therapist and a psychiatrist who are being crazy. And that's one thing that my therapist still struggles with. She's like, You were seeing a therapist. Why was your psychiatrist billing and giving you therapy? I'm like, I don't fucking know. People on TikTok didn't know either. Probably because it made him more money. But anyway, I don't really want to talk about him. But yes, LLMs can be helpful. However, there are a lot of people that have unalived themselves with the help of ChatGPT and Gemini, those two in particular, which is why I just do not talk to ChatGPT or Gemini, because they're scary and not to be trusted. Oh, thanks, Lori. Yeah. I mean, I really try to follow the 4 agreements, and be impeccable with your word, always do your best, don't make assumptions, and the last one is don't take things personally. But it's hard not to when a bunch of people are calling you psychotic, Like, well, no, it was just trauma. It was just trauma. That's all it was. Nessa, I'm so much more relaxed. Yes. Hi, G. Or is it your own story? Sarah, what's up, girl? I've got my clinical psychologist high school buddy in the chat right now. Haven't seen you in a minute. I'm like, I know that screen name. What's the difference between your story and the truth? My story is my story. I told my story as I understood it, The truth is subjective. All I know is that I really hated people trying to tell me what my reality is, They weren't in that room. Yep, that's right, Rose. Yes, really, Sarah's here. The two things are different for CPT codes for therapy and med management. Yep, he billed for both. 15 minutes of med management and 15 minutes of therapy. I would see the EOBs. And he was making money. They were making money. Oh, your question was about the book. No, so this, it's interesting because I have always been told that I needed to write a memoir. And so when I hired this publisher and went on the writing retreat in the British Virgin Islands, I definitely was expecting to write a memoir, but this whole other book came out of me. I was like, whoa, okay. Self-empowerment for ADHDers, let's go. And then my friend is she has nothing to do, but she's a memoir writing coach. And I ran into her and I told her about how I thought I was going to write a memoir, but I was like, oh, I guess I'm not ready. And she said that many people write a different book first because memoirs are so vulnerable to write. It takes a lot. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So the next book I write from a much more healed and much less dissociated place will be a memoir for sure. Adam might be here. Is he in chat? I don't know. Well, Michaela, welcome. Sarah, I'm so glad you're here. Nessa, it's hard. People can understand it, right? They just don't want to because it reminds them too much. Thank you for the rose, H. It reminds them too much of experiences in their own life where they have been taken advantage of by someone with power over them, right? So that's why so many people can't do any, can't put it together. They're just, my dissociation around the trauma caused other people to dissociate around their own trauma, and it just wasn't good, It was like I don't know. It was a rough situation, but I'm doing much better. Thank you, Izzy. Thank you. Tiffy. Allie, I'm so glad you're here, girl. But yeah, thanks, Nessa. Muckers, are you in here? Adam gave my makeup video a like. He's been dropping in. I don't know. No, Lucy. I'm not convinced of that. It was just what made sense, you know? It was me trying to make sense of a hard situation. Thank you, Abby. Aw, Nessa, thank you. Thank you. I respect myself too. More and more every single day. It's pretty cool. And, you know, I want for everyone the freedom of just being able to speak the truth and being okay with themselves and being okay with talking about hard things like mental health. Smurfette, I got a good therapist who's helping me with that. So I'm no longer talking about it publicly, you know? Gee, I use Tarte Tubing mascara in brown. Let me tell you guys, if you have any questions about my makeup, I spilled it all in my most recent video. Thank you, Smurfette. Yeah, I'm really grateful. Oh, we've got a psych nurse in here. What's up? Girl, do you think you've struggled with limerence in your life? Yeah, Bella. Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm not dating or sleeping with men. Just so I can like heal that part of me. Thanks, Cece. Rumbino. When I was younger, oh yeah. What crystals am I wearing today? My Moldavite ring, RIP. This sucker will change anyone's life. A mother of pearl ring. I don't know if these are real. It might be. I got 2 of them for $5 at the gem show, but I think it's pretty. Citrine. Yes, citrine. Angelite. I forget what this one is, but, and then Sigilite for this one. It's purple. It blasts my crown chakra right open. Oh, Stephanie, thank you so much. It's okay, Bella. It's okay to laugh. I'm glad we're in the same boat. Because you know what? It is funny. Aw, thanks, meme. Aw, thanks, Leo. I love the gem show where I live. I really do. No, Sarah, because I was telling the truth. He can't argue with telling the truth. You know, he just got to stay quiet and lean on his male privilege and let the world defend him, you know? That's how it works with men. Thank you. Good night, crazy cat. Morgan, I don't know why your comment was hidden, but okay. Morgan says, rub it against your teeth. With your nail. Oh, I think it's smooth. But still, it's nice and it hasn't made my fingers green, so that's fine. What lip color am I wearing? It's this, a 3-pack from Costco. Sydney, I am not wearing any foundation right now. Why am I always serving? Because I am me. Oh no. Thank you. Haley, thank you so much. I know. Dat Pine guy, what's up? It is. She's one of my guides. Guadalupe, the Virgin Mary. I'm not Catholic, but my mom was raised Catholic, and she's always called to me. Just view her as with me. Thank you. Yeah. I am 6'2", Bee-Boo. I went to the tall tour in Scottsdale. Some people saw me on the height abetical order. Kelsey, I'm glad you're here. You can't DM from in the video. Sarah, do you want to come up as a guest? I would love to have you as a guest on my live stream. If you're open to coming up, you are welcome, and we can chat all things ADHD. Oh, thank you, emotional. Alexis, I live in Tucson. I just doxed myself, but you know. I'm close. I drove up to Phoenix for it. Oh, you guys are so nice. Need an OB. I have one. Shruti Bala is one that I went to, but you guys, compared to living in Oregon, women's healthcare is such a joke here. Such a fucking joke. But yeah, I would go to just El Rio. El Rio's great. There's also like some great OB clinics, like only do OB work, like near Tucson Medical Center. So let me find Sarah. I'm not the expert. Well, I still would love to have you as a guest. I sent you an invite if you want to come up. El Rio, it's the one on Irvington. The one on Irvington has the... Let's go, Sarah.
Oh, dang, yes. It's right now? I was hoping it was for the future. Do I have audio?
You do have audio, yes.
Oh, dang. I was just about to text you. So for those who, yes, I've known Kendra since middle school. And I've shared, I was just about to like message. I don't think I have your phone number anymore, but I was gonna message.
It's the same one since 2000 and
I know, but my phone's had mine is too, but my phone's had iterations, so it like deletes stuff sometimes.
That's fair.
But yeah, I was just gonna message and say that I've used your mom's dip recipe, the cream cheese.
Amazing! Chili and cheese.
Hormel and cheese for as long as I have known it. And it's one of my dad's favorite recipes.
That's amazing. Let me just tell the chat what it is real quick. Okay, so chat.
Okay.
You take a block of cream cheese and like smear it all along the bottom of a microwavable dish, like preferably long and flat.
Oh, I always do a circle.
Or a circle, yeah, whatever.
I will usually let it like room temperature so it's easily spreadable for sure.
Love it. Yes.
Yeah.
And I honestly haven't made that dish since high school. So the fact that it's like on rotation. Yeah, dude. I mean, I've lived alone for so long, but I guess it'd be a good thing to bring to like a party.
Yeah, for sure. I've done like tailgates or basketball games or something where I've made that. And yeah, I don't remember when I made it for my parents. It has to have been before I went to, like, when I was in college. Like, I don't know. I mean, it was middle school.
Wants the rest. Then you take a can of chili with beans and dump it over.
Hormel chili with beans.
Hormel chili with beans. Yes, I was trying to not do the Hormel, but I think my mom was very particular about the Hormel.
What? I don't know if there's a generic version of that though.
Well, I'm thinking like Trader Joe's. As someone who worked at Trader Joe's, like Trader Joe's is a pretty good beef chili. That would probably work.
We don't have Trader Joe's where I am right now.
Okay. So. Sarah's a fancy academic now, so she goes where the the PhD work is, which is so cool.
I go where I get a job offer, you know.
Exactly, the life of the academic. Okay, so cream cheese spread at the bottom of the pan, can of Hormel chili, and then you top it with whatever shredded cheese you have. Do you have a favorite, Sarah?
So my favorite is like a sharp cheddar, just because I like sharp cheddar.
Yeah, that's
But
what I
I
was
al-
thinking too.
but also like Costco has a good like mix, of different cheeses that I'll sometimes just do because it's already shredded. Um, but all of the above. I don't think you can go wrong with
Just
cheese, right?
any cheese, exactly, with tortilla chips. Yes, and then you zap that sucker in the microwave until the cheese on top is melted, and
Yeah,
then you scoop it.
I do mine in the oven. Just so it gets like, yeah.
Oh,
I didn't know your
even
mom's version
better.
wasn't oven. Maybe I adapted it. But yeah, mine's the oven version, just so that the cheese on top gets like a little like not burnty, but like the
Crispy.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Oh
microwave's
yeah.
good. Oh, in a pinch, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
yeah, like that's you got my mom's from the Midwest. Quick and get it out, you know?
Got it
Um,
in.
but that's amazing. Yeah. Oh, the oven is the best. I don't even have a microwave,
That's so
so
funny. I never realized that your mom's was in the oven. So evidently I adapted it from,
you did.
the middle school version of myself made it more fancy, I guess.
I love it. I love it. You elevated it.
I guess.
Um,
But yeah.
that's
No,
cool.
I was just you were talking about your book and what I was gleaning from it, which I heard a little bit about before, but I haven't seen like the specifics of it, and so I don't specifically research ADHD, but I think it'd be really cool to have um like a take from you, from your personal experiences, and also just like what the research is kind of out there, because I think there's some I mean, again, I am not the expert in here, but like I think that there's some differences in terms. Obviously, there's differences in terms of girls and boys in terms of like the young research, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, and
Um,
that's part of why so many women don't get diagnosed until
yeah.
they're in their 20s. Because
Well,
a lot of go
and
ahead.
that's the yeah, no, for sure. And that's the other thing too, is like typically we think of it as a developmental disorder, but are there instances where like especially women didn't get diagnosed as girls because they were not the inattentive, or
They
what is it?
weren't the hyperactive type,
Yeah,
they
they
were
were the
inattentive.
hyperactive type.
Yeah.
And so is it now coming up? And in grad school, I always remember thinking, well, we did a bunch of assessments in college age where sometimes it at least from my supervisor's point of view, it sometimes was that the level of intellect was there that could sometimes mask isn't the right word, but sometimes like override the difficulties, right? Where you have abilities that are superseding the ADHD issues, that are maybe going to be problematic when you're at a college level difficulty versus high school, middle school, etc.
Yes.
And that's why I think it would be really, really cool to have like an ADHD expert, because they know more about that than me, in
Yeah.
terms of like what the literature is saying, and how that sort of paradigm within the research being young boys in the past, and sort of not understanding the differences between young boys and
Explora, I'm sorry, Sarah. I did not mean to invite you up. I was just meaning trying to at you, but thanks for
Oh
coming
no,
and hanging
yeah.
out.
Don't worry.
ah,
I just was like curious whatever happened.
we love you
Nothing, girl.
Yeah.
I told my story and I got back into therapy with a really good therapist and nothing happened. I got better.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
because my friend and I, we like watched your videos over the summer and we were just like really interested in your story.
Aw, well, Nessa, thank you. I finished my story in November. So if you scroll back on my page, you can watch the rest of it. But I'm glad that you were interested.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. But yes, that's what happened. Nothing. All right, April wants to come up. I'm sorry, Sarah. We're gonna have some thing. What's up, April? Explorer, thanks for coming up. All right. Hits from the bong. Oh, wait, can we say that? Gardening.
Oh wait, hi, I'm here. I don't know how live works. Wait, hey.
You don't?
No, I actually don't. I was actually shocked that you accepted that. So
Well, usually my rule is people just have to ask, like, say what's up in chat.
oh,
And you did.
well, I did. Hey, I was shocked that you answered that. Yeah, I also like saw your TikToks about like I think it's the like chat GPT. I don't know. Like please hear me out on this. I don't know much about like AI and stuff.
Uh-huh.
So like hear me on that. Like I did watch you through that kind of process. Like how are you doing after that? Like this is the first time I'm kind of like popping up.
Much better.
Okay,
Much
well
better.
I'm really glad to hear that because that I was like feeling for you genuinely.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. I definitely still talk to AI a lot, not ChatGPT.
No, no,
But
sorry. I know that's just the main one that I think of when I'm like saying
totally,
AI. So
totally. But I'm much more grounded when I do it. That's the most
I love that.
important thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. No, I think that's great. And I
Yeah.
think that I've like seen a couple of your lives recently. Like I've seen you come up on my For You page and I'm like, wow, like she really like she's really popping off. Like, I love that for her.
Aw.
And I'm rooting for you and I hope that you are doing great in life. And like I just saw all of that going on and I'm just I hope you do the best and I'm glad to see you doing so much better right now.
April, thank you so much for the well wishes. That's
I'm
so
so
kind.
glad. I just really wanted to say that to you.
Oh, well, I accept it and I am very grateful. Thank you for coming up and hanging out with me and Sarah.
Yeah, no
But
problem. Anyways, I'm gonna peace out now.
drop down.
Goodbye.
Okay, bye. Okay, Sarah, I'm back online with you. So you were
Yep.
saying about like having an ADHD because you don't know much about it.
Well,
So
so yeah, I mean, I know what I know about it, right?
yeah, of
But like, I'm
course.
not. It's
Sure,
not.
you
It's
know
not.
plenty.
Yeah, it's not my expertise area. But I would be very curious for like, you were talking about this book that you wrote. That's I think in it's in editing. It's in
Yeah, it's in
public.
editing.
Yeah, but like the whole thing is supposed to be published. I think soon. I think parts of it have been published.
Yeah.
But in terms of like, I think it'd be really, really fascinating to have some sort of book that that elucidates like a person's experience plus the research that goes in like the current knowledge of the field for ADHD, right? So like, we were talking about how most of the research, it's not just ADHD, but it's autism. A lot of these things were mostly researched in young boys, and
Yes.
so now we're finding out that there are different presentations for girls who have these
Exactly.
developmental disorders as well. And there's some additional research on, it's mixed, I will say, but additional research in like adult ADHD, specifically I think women, but I think it's because it was maybe potentially, and this is sort of like where I don't know the literature, but potentially like misdiagnosed in childhood because we're basing these things off of the more impulsivity of boys
Of
and not
course.
the inattention of girls, right? And so
Yes.
So then we have these issues, and maybe they don't manifest until later adulthood, later college, later high school, when demands on like cognition get
That's when
like
I was diagnosed, was in
right,
college, because I was
right.
like, I'm smart. Why am I struggling so much with school?
And
And yeah, like
yeah,
I sought out a diagnosis because I researched it on my own. Because my whole childhood, teachers had told my parents, like, Kendra is smart, but there's something wrong with her. Like, Kendra is smart, but she can't pay attention, you know? And my parents would be like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, I don't know, you know? Or
yeah,
like here's Kendra's classmates' work and here's her work, right?
yeah,
Like completely different. And
right.
so there's just so much grief when women get diagnosed like later in life, because we just go back to our childhood and young adulthood and like, oh, that makes so much sense, right? But
Right.
we're often told that we're stupid, lazy,
Yeah.
crazy, whatever. And it's just so hard. So I love that you're bringing this up, because I think that it's finally like, so often in all aspects of medicine, women are treated like small men.
Women weren't. So I'll say two things about this. Women weren't included in like randomized clinical trials until like the 80s or something like that. I don't quote me on the date, but it wasn't until like it usually was men. And the other
I
thing,
would think like the 80s or the 90s even.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like relatively recently that we were even included.
Yeah. So I'm all for. I am absolutely. I'll put this on my my bulletin. I'll put this on. It's like women's health needs to be assessed better.
Yes.
But the other thing, I've had mixed messages from who I've talked to about this, and it's really interesting because I've had my own sort of ideas about it. I've had my personal ideas about like, oh, my student, some of 'em, like, do I have ADHD? Like, I don't know. And then how it fits as a developmental disorder versus a later defined when things get tough, right? So like college age, high school age, where if people are smart enough, the idea has been that they can sort of overcome some of the problems, I guess, if you will. But there's also some people who feel as though, like, no, it should be present in young childhood. And so that's why I'm saying, like, oh, this ADHD, like, perspective of, like, someone who knows all of the in and outs of the research would be so fascinating to be able to add to your book about like your personal experiences, but also like whatever you've learned from personal, but also like
Stuff.
others, right?
Right. Oh yeah.
That would be such a comprehensive book, like
It
a
would be.
comprehensive like I have the science, but I also have like individual vignettes of like what it is and when I found out, and especially for women, because I feel like a lot of that has been misunderstood, misappropriated.
Time.
And I also don't know if ADHD is only a developmental disorder because of the fact that so many people are finding issues with things post adulthood.
I mean,
that's
my aunt got diagnosed at 63.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, realistically, DSM diagnosis is you have to be a child. And so it's like
crazy. That's in the DSM?
Yeah, so I don't remember what it is for ADHD, but it is a developmental disorder. So it has to be present when you're a kid. But I've heard of all of these instances, and that's why I'm saying, like, find someone, not me,
Sure.
find someone who's like the expert in this field to determine, like is the field advancing? Are we thinking of things as being more like longitudinal? Like longitudinal, I mean, in terms of like age. Or are we really thinking of these things as like happening before, like, I don't remember what the determination for ADHD is, but I think it's like 12, 13. I don't know. It would at least be developmental, so before 18. But like, because of all of these things that are happening past 18, like you said your aunt was what, 65?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's clearly something that is still problematic for individuals, and maybe it's not the developmental problem, but maybe it's the continuation problem of like not being able to have the same level of executive functioning or something along those lines, right? Like, I am really fascinated because the field right now seems to be mixed about, is it developmental? Is it adulthood? What's the difference? How do we determine? I mean, it's not really mixed about finding more evidence in young girls, but that's because it's developmental.
Right.
But I do think that, yeah, I mean, I think that I feel like there's advancement in this field of diagnosis that may not be purely developmental. It may be developmental, but also has
Yes.
impacts into adulthood.
Well,
right?
and Ness is making a great point in the chat. It's just like autism. Like,
Yes.
autism
Yes.
has only been studied in little boys and diagnosed in little boys, and women present in such a different way.
Yes.
And like, hello, so many women are in their 30s and 40s and getting
Yes.
diagnosed with autism.
So the research on that has been moving, but historically, yes, I would agree. ADHD, autism has been predominantly focused in young, like male kids, but that is changing. So
Yeah.
there is more focus on trying to figure out like what the presentation looks like in young girls. How does that differ? What does the masking look like in terms of girls versus boys, if they have to do that? I will also say that just in my realm of like my university, like our cohort of students, like they're also looking into how this affect, like how autism neurodivergence affects mental health just generally, right? So they're looking, like we have students looking at these different things. And yes, this needs to happen. I'm not trying to plug my university. Like, I'm not
Okay,
even.
okay, so let me
I'm not even
tell the
telling you my
chat.
university, but
Everyone, this is my friend Sarah. Sarah and I have known each other since middle school.
yeah.
I didn't even follow her on here up until tonight. She was just in chat. I was like, hey, I know that from Instagram. What? And
Yeah.
so Sarah is I just want to say a PsyD, a clinical psychologist. Is that your title?
I'm a PhD, but PsyD also exists as a clinical
Oh,
psychologist.
I'm sorry. We've talked about this. You
That's okay.
chose PhD. So Sarah is a doctor. Sarah is a doctor in psychology.
Correct.
And she's been using a bunch of 50-cent words. A few of them I've had to look up.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, elucidates. Oh, okay.
Oh my gosh.
I read.
Like, I laugh about this all the time. I literally today was talking to a colleague about how to make terminology and information so much more palatable.
You were talking about elucidating.
I know, and I'm so used, and like my field is sleep medicine, not ADHD. So I want to make that caveat that I'm.
Oh, you're a sleep medicine medicine doctor or
Yeah.
PhD. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. So I
But
want to
yeah,
make
a doctor
want-
in sleep medicine.
so I want to make a caveat that I'm not coming here as an ADHD expert. In fact, I'm actually saying, like, let's find someone who can
Let's
do that.
find someone. Yes.
Because I think that would be amazing for Kendra's kind of secondary book or something to, like,
I love it.
yeah, well, I probably said elucidate, like, the differences between your versus the
To
field
make it more, yes, I
differences.
love that. So yeah, like, so when Sarah started asking about like ADHD stuff, I was like, get up here. So she didn't know she was gonna come up. So
No, I thought it was gonna be a future event.
I'm so glad you're here. And I've loved talking to you since we were in middle school. And so to have you here, and like especially now that it's crazy that we're all grown up, you know? Like like you're a doctor helping people sleep better at a major university.
Yeah.
And I'm here running lives, but you know.
I mean, but you read a book and you're doing all
And
the
that's
all the
right.
other
I'm an
things. I mean,
author. Yes.
I mean, we need the stuff to be and that's the thing. It's like that's what I was talking about is having the personal and the science, like, in a way.
Yeah, mine
that
is all
can be
personal.
really-
Mine is like, here, let me just like brain dump. And then, you know, I like got into some of the sciencey stuff, and that was one of the things that my first editor said was because I talk about sleep or nutrition, and she was like, you didn't go as deep into those subjects as you did your earlier things. And I said, well, yeah, because I'm not an expert. And I don't want to pretend that I'm an expert, right?
Yeah,
like, and so I'm one step ahead of you there, Sarah. Like,
Yeah, no. So I mean, 100% perfect. It's just like doing something where you can bring those people in so
just
that
like
you can
interview
have
them.
like expertise plus your personal experience, because I feel like what happens is there's this weird dichotomy. That's the colloquial term. There's this weird
I'm with
black
you. A
and
dichotomy
white
is good.
between like what we submit for like research articles and things like that we're like finding, and it's like the focus is other researchers, right? But there's also these like the individual personal views where a lot of this information would be really helpful, but it's not necessarily in that context digestible. And I've actually been thinking about this a lot based on a project I'm a consultant with in Louisiana, just in terms of individuals who are like on I can't remember the term for it, but it's like a healthcare system that is for assisting people who need assistance. It's not a very good term, but it's very interesting in terms of like how I communicate these things, and just like what you were saying, Kendra, about how let me repurpose this for like the people who are on this chat. Sarah said this about this, but what she means is that.
Right.
And what it is like there's terminology, there's jargon that we try to avoid, right?
Sure.
But regardless, we still have jargon that we don't think of as jargon. But when we talk to people who are just like, general public, we're like, oh, this is not a term that they're used to, right? And so it is so helpful to have like, oh, this is what's meant by this. This is what's meant by that. And that's kind of like I guess connects to the original post that I had put, which was, gosh, who knows how long ago. But in terms of like having like you writing a book, because you said your other book was more about of your own things, but some of just generalities. But if you were going to write your own book, to also have like inclusion from like what is the most current data to support that, and does it support it or does it not, and how does that reflect things, I think is really, really helpful. But that also entails that it needs to be in a way that people know what you're talking about.
Right.
And so jargon has to be it, and it's hard because
I
like
want
I'm used
to
to
read some textbooks about like trauma, like or about things, but it's just academic literature is so dense. And this is from a girl that like much prefers to read nonfiction. Like I'm like, oh, this is so hard to get through, right? But hey, Brianna, let's go. Thanks for the heart me.
abstract,
I am
summaries
right
are where you
there.
go for that. I
I'm
mean,
right there with
realistically.
you.
But I
Like,
get you. Yeah, for sure.
yes. And it's so cool. And I love, and can I ask you some stuff about sleep? Because what a cool thing to study, because it seems like, or to just work on, because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of information about sleep.
Okay, so yes,
Hi,
you
Tiff.
can absolutely ask me about that. I will also add that there's been some research to show psychologists, we haven't done it, we're trying to do it in like primary care physicians right now. But in psychologists, they did do a study a couple years ago that asked about like how much sleep training you got, what do you typically recommend if someone comes into your office with this, and it was for psychologists specifically. And I'm happy if people want to know what the citation was. I'm happy to give that. I think it was Eric Zhao 2023 or something like that. We are
My
trying
TikTok chat, they're not PhD level experts.
Yeah, I know.
We're not gonna hold you to that there, Sarah, but I freaking love that
and
so
that's
much.
the thing is because like
Yeah.
in my normal life I'm like, yeah, let's go for the citations. Like I got this and this. But most people are not in that realm of life. They're just like, I just want to know what's the
Totally.
like,
We're just
give me
here to
one
chat.
sentence.
Yeah, okay.
And
So do you do like sleep studies?
so my, let's see, how do I explain what I do? There are certain sleep disorders that are best diagnosed via subjective responses. So circadian disorders, sometimes insomnia specifically. I'll pick those two as the
I think
the most
a lot
obvious.
of people in my chat, I know one in particular deals with insomnia. Yeah, there we go.
Other disorders like sleep apnea or periodic leg movement disorder, those do need an actual polysomnography, which is PSG, where they're going to hook you up to a bunch of different electrodes.
Okay, because that's what I'm thinking in my head when I hear of a sleep study, right?
Yeah.
So you don't do that.
Well, so I do it for research, but I don't do it for practice. And that's where I differ, because I'm not a sleep, like I'm a faculty member. And so in our current project, which is maybe helpful, I will screen out for, we do a baseline sleep study, which is probably similar to the equipment that they use, but sometimes they do more equipment. But my equipment basically screens out for sleep apnea. And so because I'm looking for insomnia specifically, so
See, that's
sometimes you can have the comorbidity of both.
right.
But if you're not treated for sleep apnea, then I don't want you in my research, just because we don't know which is which.
Right. So it's hard to like know. Yeah. Well, okay. So Tiff just said something. I'm on like Ambien like psychiatrists talking about Ambien TikTok. Like that's kind of on my page. And I'm so glad to hear that you're off it because I hear that people will do TIFF because I hear that people will do like so much stuff that they just don't remember.
Yeah.
On
So,
Ambien.
so is that a question for me or a question for the person who replied?
No, you can please talk about it because Tiff is going to be a nurse practitioner, so she knows like a little bit. But I would love to hear your take on Ambien because she just said in the chat, just started trazodone because Ambien makes me weird, not advice, just sharing. And I just have heard so many people. And then Lemonade says, I didn't like trazodone, it gave me tremors.
Yes. Okay.
And then Happy Go Living saying, I've been on Ambien for 10 years and I do a lot of stuff I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely talk about that. I will add that I am not a prescriber, so I can't talk about like how to if you need to titrate off medication, I'm not gonna obviously this is TikTok, but
Right.
but I'm not going like I can't legally recommend those things. I can say what I would talk to your prescriber about.
Yeah.
So a couple of things. Trazodone is often used. Trazodone is technically not a sleep medicine, but it is often used off-label for sleep.
Interesting.
And so are a lot of medications are used off-label, like propranolol, which is a beta blocker, is sometimes used for physiological symptoms of anxiety. So like off-label things are not super rare. So what I will say about trazodone, I don't know as much in terms of side effects. I know it can help with people who have sleep problems, and sometimes it doesn't do anything, which is probably also true of all sleep medications. Melatonin is not FDA regulated, so sometimes you might get a bottle that says, oh, it's 10 milligrams, and the amount that's in that bottle might differ, depends. It's just not as regulated as most medication because it's a supplement. In terms of Ambien, Ambien tends to be problematic for things like night events, right? Where you go to Walmart, you buy stuff that you don't remember, you eat things you don't remember.
That's just what Happy Go Living was saying.
Exactly.
She'll eat and leave a mess and doesn't remember anything.
And you don't remember. There's if you Google Ambien Walrus, there's some fun like depictions of like I'm going to take you on an adventure that you don't remember. So okay. I will also say I don't know trazodone because it's off label, but Ambien and most of the sleep medications that are prescribed for quote unquote insomnia or sleep disturbance tend to be 2 weeks or less. However, like FDA approved 2 weeks or less. As far as I have researched, and I probably should do another viewpoint into that for 2 weeks, because typically if you're experiencing insomnia for short term, you're really just having something that's disrupting your sleep. But most people who I've seen who need additional treatment in terms of their sleep, as like a psychologist who does like sleep treatment, they've been on it for 10 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not really supposed to be for that duration of time.
Ambien?
Yeah, Ambien.
Oh. Okay.
And a lot of them, but I don't know specifics in terms of like, but Ambien for sure. I think FDA was approved for 14 days. But I've had people come into clinic and they're on it for 20 years, and they're on. I had a woman who was on more than the male dose that was supposed to be approved. and it's not working, but they're so fixated on it. But anyway,
Is it addictive?
um, what's it? I think Ambien's a benzodiazepine. It depends on the medication. I don't know that necessarily that's addictive, but you definitely are going to have.
Benzos are addictive.
Yeah, I can't remember. I can't remember the class that it is. But you are definitely going to have issues where you're going to like your body's going to tolerate it over time. And
Okay.
so if it's only been tested by the FDA for 2 weeks and you're on it for 10 years, like is it effective? I don't know.
Right.
And that's where a lot of like my stuff comes in, and I'm not pitching myself by any means, but
You're allowed to in my stream.
but there is a component where like medication stops working, and the reason is because so I'll just give you a quick insomnia. This is insomnia specifically, not other issues like circadian rhythm's different, shift work's different. But what happens in the short term? Like, so let's say we have a bad night of sleep, or we have a week's night of bad sleep because we're doing finals or we're just not sleeping well. Like, it makes sense, right, to do a nap or to go to bed early or to sleep in. And those things work really, really well for short term sleep difficulties. But what
Sure. I
happens,
love a nap.
yeah, but what happens is when those things are elongated or made more often than necessary, then we have these
Okay, tomato.
like precipitating factors that cause acute insomnia to be chronic insomnia. And what we usually see is then we get those people who are like 10 years who like I've been
Right.
trying to do this right thing for 10 years, but it's like, yeah, but that's not working because it only works like it actually makes things worse in the long term. And so that's what we end up seeing in clinic.
So that's
With that.
my mutual in chat, Happy, says she's been on it for 14 years.
Yeah.
And then she just said, my day is night and night is day for many years. So it's literally parallel to what you're saying.
Well, so in that person, they're flip flopped in terms of circadian rhythm, right?
And what was the clinical term? Circadian difficulties? Circadian.
So for that specific person, if their day and night are fully switched, sometimes this can happen for people who are blind, where they don't have those receptors. But in a person who should have day and night, I would just call it a circadian rhythm disorder.
A
And
circadian rhythm disorder, right? The
yeah.
disorder.
And what
Yes,
we would
Kelly.
do for that is try to get them back onto a regular daytime schedule. It would take time. I mean that's where the behavioral component comes in.
Happy's asking, who treats that?
Me. So if you, gosh, go to I'm sure there's a lot of sites if you just Google like
Happy's in Florida.
Florida. Well, if you go to Society of Behavioral Sleep Medicine, someplace on their website, I don't know what their website is exactly. Like this is that like I'm not trying to pitch them, but you can Google like who would be a sleep expert in your area. But Society of Behavioral Sleep Medicine has people who are trained in this type of realm, and you can choose based on state, and often they will also do like telehealth, like SitePack. We have SitePack, where it means psychologists can treat people in different states even if they're not, like, they're licensed in multiple states.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So like mutual licenses or like other states recognize other.
So sometimes you can be licensed in 2 states and that's it. Cause like not 100% of states are not in SIPAC. But if Florida and whoever their provider could be was in SIPAC, then it would be in then it would exist for like a telehealth situation. So that's the only one I know is the Society of Behavioral Sleep, SBSM, Society of Behavioral Sleep Medicine. To Google that, but there's probably others.
Society of Behavioral Sleep Medicine.
And,
You know, I'm
and finding someone who would be licensed in their state, whether it be like in person or telehealth. I'm not licensed in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I really haven't ever struggled with sleep, like knock on my desk, and it's not something that I take for granted. Like, I'm so grateful because I know that a lot of ADHDers have comorbid sleep disorders. Hi,
Oh, for sure.
thank you. So, it's something that I'm grateful for. One thing that I do have is like, I don't think I've ever woken up feeling fully rested. And I'm healing my nervous system right now, like really working on resting during the day. But when I found out that normal people wake up feeling rested, I'm like, what? That's a thing? Like, I don't know. I didn't know that.
So there is a thing called sleep inertia. And that's what we call it in the sleep field. I don't know what other people call it. So how long does it take you to feel kind of awake and alert and ready for the day?
Oh, probably like half hour.
Yeah. So sleep inertia is not super. I don't think that specific variable is super studied.
Yeah.
But what I do know from most people is that that's pretty typical, right?
Yeah.
So like the other thing is, and I will share this to you and your followers. And I will also share that I am a person who does this even knowing it doesn't help. So let's say your alarm goes off at 7 a.m. and you're like, cool, I'm gonna snooze that until 7:30.
Totally.
Thinking that 7:30 I'm gonna feel so much more alert and awake.
Doesn't it make it worse?
So sometimes it can make it worse if you actually fall back asleep, because there are some, I don't remember exactly what, it's like a serotonin dip or something. Something happens if you fall back asleep, and it does make it worse.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't make it worse, what happens is you're just prolonging that sleep inertia phase, which for most people is about 30 minutes, sometimes can be about an hour before you're feeling like alert and awake, right? Like sometimes people will take a shower and then like they might have coffee, they might not have coffee, but like regardless, the coffee's probably not the proponent for them feeling alert and awake. It's that they've been alert and awake for an hour. And so the thing with the snooze, which is something I cannot, it's so hard for me not to have. The snooze, just like you think, oh, if I snooze this for 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to feel like how I want to feel in 30 minutes. No, the snooze really just postpones that sleep inertia. You're still going to have the sort of like awakening feelings, regardless of that. It's going to be worse, of course, if you fall back into one of those sleep cycles. But if you're doing like 5 minutes or whatever, yeah, it's so tough though. I do it too. And I'm always like, for my clients, I'm like, do what I say, don't do what I do. Cause like I snooze because I'm just like, oh, I don't really want to be up yet. I know it's going to be bad. I could be up now and it's going to be so much easier, but like, I don't do it. Yeah.
Well, and that's, I mean, owning my own coaching business has many positives, and one of them is I control my own schedule. And so I do not wake up to an alarm most mornings, because my first client, like, I'm not available for clients until 10 a.m. And I do have some like coaching groups that I'm a part of that it'll be like at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. And what I do for those is I'll set my alarm for like 5 minutes before, so I can just like wake up and like go to Zoom and keep my camera off while I'm waking up. But that's how much like sleep means to me. But it's so interesting, Sarah, because the days that I have to get up with an alarm, I'll just tell myself, okay, I need to be up at 6:45 or 6:55 tomorrow morning. And usually I wake up right before then.
So some people are really good at that, and so I'm technically off contracted this summer, and I kind of want to test this for myself to like not have a set wake time, but I worry that like not having a set wake time, it's gonna be so variable, and the thing is like for sleep regularity, we really like to have a set wake time, more so than a bedtime, right? Because
Interesting.
because it prompts the circadian rhythm, right? Like it all depends on light exposure, what we're doing during the day. But yeah, so more often than not, it's the bedtime. The wake
The
time.
wake time is more important than the bedtime. Wow.
Yes, because of the circadian factor of our sleep schedule. Bedtime matters, but
Sure.
if I were to designate, like if someone were saying like, should I go to sleep at 11 p.m. at night and just wake up whenever, or wake up every day and just decide when I go to bed, I would, like, as a sleep researcher, I mean, granted, we could do some more research into this, but from what we know now, I would venture to say, pick a wake time, stick with that wake time, even on the weekends. You can be a little bit flexible, but I would say like 30 minutes, 60 minutes max on the weekends if you want to sleep in.
Wow, that the most important thing is awake time.
Yeah.
You're blowing my mind right now.
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe it.
Yeah, it's because it connects to the circadian phase, right? Like that's when you're like, especially if you're in a place where like right now, I think most places are daylight at that point. Like I think daylight me, well, you're in Tucson, so maybe 7 o'clock, but for me, it's like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we have daylight forever, to like 8:30. And so sometimes you might have to limit the evening exposure by doing like blue light blockers or something like that. But typically no. That's typically more for like shift work issues and things like that. But yeah, more so it's the starting of the day, the starting of the circadian rhythm. The other thing is like it's not only light that causes circadian rhythms, but like feeding patterns. So if you eat breakfast at 8 o'clock every day, if you eat lunch at 12 o'clock every day, like not that you have to do that, but those are also going to instill in your body sort of the clock paradigm.
Yeah. I mean, and Happy said, Kendra, you're a night owl. And it's like, you know, it's so interesting because my body naturally wants to stay up late and get up right now. My normal sleep schedule is like midnight to 8 a.m. But it's so interesting hearing you say that, Sarah, because like Sometimes I'll stay up until like 2, even 3 in the morning, and I'll be like, okay, I'll sleep in tomorrow. I don't have any meetings in the morning. It's not a big deal. And then I'm up at 8. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
But the other thing, Kendra, is like we don't like we have these like averages of total sleep times and times that people go to bed, and if you're going to bed at 12 to 8, that's still an 8-hour period. That's pretty good depending on like what you're sleeping during that period. There are people like, and especially this happens naturally, biologically. Like, so imagine when you're like 16, 20, you probably did stay up a lot later. Your bedtime was probably like 1 to 2 o'clock or whatever. That's normal. That biologically is a typical response. I don't know what, I don't know why, but we get from sort of this like 13, 14-year old age, and then we start to shift later, and then 22ish we sort of revert back, and then it's more of that like 10 o'clock, 8
right,
o'clock.
right,
Some of that might be artificially because of like what we have for jobs, right?
right, right.
But
Well,
there is this proponent for sort of late adolescence, and then some individuals to have these later chronotypes is what we call them, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of like circadian rhythm. So like, let's say you could not fall asleep until like 4 o'clock a.m. and you could not wake up for your job. Like, then we would try to resolve that issue by moving things around, blue light blockers, whatever we could influence. But there are some people where midnight. I mean, I feel like personally I'm like an 11 o'clock midnight bedtimer, and sometimes I have to modify that by when I have to go to work the next day.
right,
So
right.
that definitely exists, and that's not abnormal.
Well, and I love that you just validated a big thing for me, and then there are a couple questions in the chat that I want to get to, but senior year at Tucson High, when all of our friends were getting out early, because Sarah and I went to a high school with like block schedules. So on like Monday through Thursday, we had like fewer classes that had longer times. And seniors didn't have to take 7 classes, they could take 6. And so every single one of my fellow seniors, it felt like, left early, but I didn't have a first period because I just wanted to sleep. And much of like first period for junior year in particular, I spent asleep. And luckily, I had an amazing teacher who would be like, good, you kids don't get enough sleep. You can sleep all you want. She was like not ashamed like of
Yeah.
me sleeping. So hearing that that's like normal, it's literally crazy that we have kids who are biologically wired to sleep in, show up to class at 8 a.m.
100%. And there's been a big I don't know what to call it, like people in our field, in the sleep field, have been trying. They've gone to, like, I know recently people have gone to like Congress or whoever is the people to try to say like, this is not. So there's two things. One is the fact that school times are too early. The other is that we don't like whatever, this is a time zone that's like not conducive to things. I can't remember which they are. I'm sorry. I apologize for not knowing. But we've tried. We have gone, like, our field has had people go to Congress, do the things. We do have research that shows, like, in terms of Kendra's point, like, we need later times for school. Like, kids are falling asleep in class because
Yes.
at 16, 17, 18, the actual physical biological delay of sleep time is real. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a thing that we can, like, yes, we can adjust it behaviorally and try to move it forward, but we're fighting against biology, which is always a complicated thing clinically.
Yeah.
Especially for people who are having circadian issues. This is a circadian
Totally.
issue.
And it all goes
Yeah.
back to the circadian issue.
Yeah, and
Um,
so it is. Yes, we are trying to fight the position of start times of schools
yeah.
to be later,
But it's
especially
also like, but
for
then the parents. But I guess I'm thinking high school in particular, it all,
yeah
we're all just cogs in the capitalist machine, unfortunately.
yeah.
Like we gotta just keep moving.
The issue comes that I've heard that in terms of buses, right? So buses come
Sure.
at certain
Yes.
times, and so how are we supposed to do that?
Right.
And so it comes at a like multi-structural problem to be fixed.
Yeah. Right. There's so many layers. Okay. I do want to ask those questions from the chat. And for
Yeah.
everyone who's just joining, this is my friend from middle school, Sarah, who was randomly in the chat. She is a doctor.
I guess
Go
I
ahead.
should show my face at some point.
If you want to, I'll make you bigger if you want to show your face.
Well, how do
I'd be happy to. So you click on your face,
I did, but
and
it's
then you
not.
turn the camera on, and then you hit save.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta hit save. You gotta smash.
Well, I
the
mean,
save button.
no, it's not letting me do that.
Oh,
photo.
maybe you need. I think you need 50 followers.
I probably don't have 50 followers because
No.
I'm very
If four friends want to follow Sarah,
well, you can find me. You can search my photo. It's the same as my
yeah, you have a nice
academic
headshot.
photo. Yeah, I don't have.
And you're welcome to come back, but
Yeah, I definitely don't. I definitely don't
1,000
have.
to come up in a
Yeah,
box.
I don't think I
Really?
have 50
Oh.
followers because
Okay, it's not even 50.
I'm only on TikTok as a me as a me.
Yes. So anyway, okay, now I know you need 1,000 to go up in a box. Okay, well that's not gonna happen
1,000?
tonight.
Damn, no, I'm not.
To
ready
turn
to
your
get
camera
that.
on at least.
Yeah,
but I'm
gonna get that.
glad you're up here. Okay, so I was gonna talk about my Apple Watch, which recently really upped its sleep monitoring capability, and I think it's because that question that Happy asked is, what do you think of Aura rings?
Oh, so this question for me or for your followers?
No, it's for you.
So it's a great question. I don't know the specifics because I don't know what Aura Ring does, what Apple Watch does. The thing that I will share from a sleep researcher perspective is that each device has their proprietary, meaning they own it. They don't have to disclose it. Determination of what is what. So they can determine what is sleep, what is wake, what is blah blah blah, what is heart rate variability.
Right.
Which makes
respiratory rate for me.
Yeah.
That's the interesting one with me for my Apple Watch.
Which makes it really challenging for me as a researcher to be able to be like, well, typically I use the same device for all all participants. But if I wanted to upload something like Apple device data and just have that for a bunch of people, which would be so amazing, it's hard to know because you can't do Apple versus Aura Ring versus Fitbit versus whatever, because they all use these proprietary algorithms, mathematical terms for determining what is what. right? So they say sleep is based on this. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna throw it into math. But that might be different from Aura Ring, who says, I'm gonna do it based on this. And I'm
Right.
gonna exclude that.
So
So
you don't know.
yeah, they're hard to compare against each other. Like if you're using the same thing, like let's say let's say I was doing a research study there where I was doing all Aura rings. Like those are all going to be the same comparatively for a participant.
Yeah.
But they may not be the same if I did like Apple Watch, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So I could get total sleep time or sleep efficiency or whatever it says for the Aura Ring, and then I could get the same thing for Apple Watch, and they might say different things. The other thing is that they, well, two things. They might say different things for the actual data, but the other thing is that they're doing better with this. But what has been historically problematic about these data is like let's say you don't sleep well and you're just like hanging out in bed and you're just kind of laying there and you're like, well, I'm not sleeping, but I'm not awake, but I'm not really moving, but I'm not really doing anything else. Is that sometimes those devices will over-report sleep, right? Like because you
Oh, yeah.
yeah
Yeah.
because it
And actually, sometimes my watch will think that I'm sleeping. It like gave me actually a really, really poor sleep score last night because it thought that I woke up and went back to bed just because I was like hanging out in bed
yeah
this morning. And so it was like, no, you got up and for too long. And I'm
right.
like,
Or if you took like 30 minutes to fall asleep but you really were asleep, but or not.
mhm.
So some of the the now versions of things are a little bit more sophisticated, but I don't know that they're great.
Sure.
Um,
So I
but
guess before I get to the next question, do you have an opinion on any of them? It sounds what I'm hearing is no,
uh,
because you don't know enough about them.
of like which one I would recommend.
Well, the person in my chat asked about the Aura ring in particular. I just like, she just asked what you think of the Aura ring.
Mm, send her my send her my email.
Happy? Happy was the
Um,
same one that wanted
yeah.
to chat.
Sarah Edmund at isu.edu.
I
I
love it.
no, I for the actigraphy specifically, which is those things. I just need to do like I picked the one I have, but I don't. I need to do more research in terms of like how they fit against each other. There's been research on that, right? So there's a dude who I can't remember his name. He's Italian. That's why I remember him. He does a lot of the research in terms of um like the types of uh
Thanks, Brienne.
the types of things that exist, but like that's such at a scientific level that it's not going to be user friendly. So yeah, tell them refer them to me.
I will. Okay,
Yeah.
happy. Go on over. Okay, so the next question, someone that's really, really curious because her mom has insomnia just like her. Have you witnessed sleep issues being genetic?
Yes.
Yes. There you go,
100.
TK. Yes.
Yes.
That's a solid yes.
And I will add for this person that this is Kendra, this is amazing. What we need to do this more often.
You're welcome
Um,
anytime. Yeah, it's
yeah,
pretty cool. It's really an honor
yeah.
having you, Dr. Emmert. So thank
No,
you.
this is fantastic. I didn't even think this was gonna be at all related to me coming into that. I just really was like, oh, like let's get you hooked with
Yeah, with some
an ADHD specialty.
experts. Dr.
Like
Emmert wants
and
to make it
then
happen. No, I love that
yeah.
we came up to talk about my book, but like I said, like nobody really talks about sleep and the subtleties of it or how people struggle with it or people do talk about it. It's just not something that even experts know about. And so for you to elucidate,
Oh man.
be able to
Dude, I'm happy to be on this page because we're doing a study right now that's looking at like PCPs, like primary care physicians, and like what their typical like response is for people who come in with like sleep complaints. And actually, like even having the consumer, like I say consumer, that's not really the right
patient.
word, but like having the hey, what do you do for this instance? Like, what would you do? So your question was something about insomnia and
Is our sleep issues genetic? And you gave it a resounding yes.
they can be for sure.
Right. Oh, didn't mean to invite you.
And I will say that twofold because sometimes they can be genetically related.
I didn't mean to invite you. I'm sorry we're doing this chat, but thank you for coming up.
Hi, the lover. No, we want you in. I like.
Sorry, I didn't know what's going on. I'm just happy to be here.
Exciting.
Nope, I got yay. Okay. So the next thing. Thanks for coming up. I am gonna drop
this
you.
is
But is there anything that you want to say before I drop you?
No, I just loved your story time, and I wish you the best. I'm actually gonna hop the live, but good luck.
Oh, thank you so much for coming up and saying hi.
Keep speaking your truth.
I
Bye,
will.
girl.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Bye. Love you.
Bye. Love you too.
I was gonna
And
say.
that's just so interesting because and so speaking of primary care providers.
Well, no,
Go
Kendra, let me
ahead,
add
go
one
ahead.
more. Let me
Yes,
add
of course,
one more
please.
thing before.
That was
Yes, I think you need to add primary care providers. I have a lot of comments on this field, on this topic, but I also want to say, the girl who asked if it was genetic versus not. Yes and no. And there's a few different reasons for that, and I don't know if we have a good explanation for genetics versus learned behavior.
Sure, because that's a big part of it too.
I think we have a pretty good definition for both. So, and the reason I say like I don't know about one versus the other. So, like, let's say, let me give an example. Let's say someone comes in, they're 25, they have insomnia short term because of past anxiety, right? Right, they're gonna have issues because of that. Maybe they're not sleeping well. Maybe that also transfigures into like long-term insomnia problems. But there's also things where, like, let's say a mom or dad exhibited behaviors that were like not conducive to quality sleep, where they were just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do this because I gotta get this done tomorrow, and I know I'm gonna sleep not great, but I gotta get sleep 6 hours. So it's like twofold. So there are genetic components, but there are also behavioral components. I don't know the literature on like which is which would actually be really, really interesting. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, to determine like is it behavioral? Like I imagine a lot of it is behavioral, but a lot of it has to do with like other things. So for your person, they were asking if
It's
yes,
genetic, but you essentially just like validated what she was thinking.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there are also so many ways to like. The thing is it doesn't have to be a medication that fixes it. Like a lot of the thing is routine. It's very behavioral that can fix it. But yes, it can be genetic. So what's your next question, Kendra?
So the next question, she left, but she was wondering about chronic fatigue syndrome. I don't know if that like ties into sleep studies, but
So there's a bunch of sleep disorders. I don't know if chronic fatigue syndrome technically is one of the disorders, but it would fit with probably hypersomnolence.
okay.
I would have to know more about what the symptoms were, but there are definite ways that she would be able to be diagnosed and effectively treated slash provided with accommodations if needed. So some of those disorders where they're like narcolepsy or hypersomnolence or studies where they need like excess like needed naps or things throughout the day, those can be prescribed.
Okay.
But they would, depending on the disorder, might need to have a sleep study. Like so narcolepsy, for instance, usually requires a sleep study where they will go a normal night of sleep and then a secondary day where they take naps and they look to see how quickly they go to REM sleep.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and that like depending on what that looks like is typically indicative of narcolepsy slash other disorders.
Yeah.
But they usually will require like an actual diagnostic study.
Yeah. Yeah. Sarah, thank you so much for coming up. I took notes, so I was taking notes for my friend. But it was so fun to have you, Dr. Emmert.
Thank you.
Just like so nice to have someone that can talk about sleep and is knowledgeable about it. And I so appreciate you speaking up in chat. And you're welcome back anytime, okay?
Well, yeah, and they're absolutely welcome. Like, feel free to share them my like work email. They can absolutely ask me questions on like how to receive services or whatever.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yay.
Also,
Yeah.
for people who didn't comment, like if they need to, like I'm happy to try to figure out how to direct them into the proper
Amazing.
or whatever.
So yeah, you all heard it. If anyone has sleep issues, reach out to my girl, Dr. Emmert. Thank you again, Sarah. I really, really, really appreciate you. Her let me put it in the chat.
My at is it gonna be Facebook or
Your at
TikTok?
on here. Can they message you on here?
Oh yeah, I could do that.
Okay, amazing. Well, thanks again, Sarah. I'm gonna disconnect you so I can say bye to my chat. But I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, dude, Kendra, let me know if you want me back.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome back whenever.
I watch you sometimes you join and sometimes I don't. But like yeah, for sure. If you want me back, just let me know.
Okay. Thanks again for coming up.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Nate, I forgot about you. Well, you know, the FYP won't let you. The FYP will be messy. Thank you, Happy. Thank you so much. I'm like, oh God, I gotta start a podcast. Sarah would be such a good guest on a podcast. So this is what I'm thinking, you guys. I had this vision because like the idea of just like editing a podcast, and also I don't really know how I'm gonna get an audiobook version of my book out, because Lord knows I'm not gonna pay to record one. So it's like either me recording it or nothing. So what I'm thinking of is, so the very first podcast that I ever listened to was More Attention, Less Deficit, which is the first ADHD book that helped me learn that I have ADHD. And I was like, oh. And so all this author did was he would record pieces of his book and put it up as a podcast. $400 was what yours cost to make an audio. I have been loving your book, by the way, Michael. You're so vulnerable in it. It's really wonderful. I appreciate your you sharing that book with me. $400 isn't bad. That's actually not bad at all. To record it, I'm like, okay. But that's just, I had that idea. Yeah, of course. I appreciate you. Yeah, okay. And you just had like a local person record it? Yeah, because that's the thing, like I could easily have some AI read it, but I was like, you know what? No, I want to read it. I wrote it. I want to read it. Damn it. So yeah. All right. You auditioned 150 people. I love that so much. Hey, it's like me finding a new therapist. Kirby, that's a weird question. Oh, you know what? We're gonna go back. That's how we're gonna end the stream. Cause Megan, like, I'm sorry, but this frickin' song. Hey, Kaylee. That's right, Happy. What a bad bitch. Oh. But I don't even know what that means. Like, I'm sorry, they keep saying I should get help, but I don't even know what I need. I mean, I do know what I need. It's more like, I don't know what that means. Thank you, Allie. They keep saying speak your truth, and at the same time, man, they don't believe. Let's go, Allie. Like, I'm sorry. These lyrics. They keep saying speak your truth, and at the same time say they don't believe. Man. Excuse me while I get into my feelings for a second. Usually I keep it down, but today I gotta tell it. Not that anybody gives a fuck anyway. Everybody gives a fuck anyway, but everybody talking shit probably sucks anyway. Y'all don't even know. You guys, this is the thing, like, I'm sorry. This is what, like, when people come into my chat these days talking shit, I'm like, you probably suck. You probably suck as a human. Like, let's listen to that line again. Okay. I'm back. I mean, come on. It's so good. That's true. With the flow. I read it like a poem. Yeah, that song is so good because I actually had really bad anxiety this morning, and I just was like, whoa, what the fuck? But I really do think that I'm shedding a huge version of me, right? And so that's how I kind of viewed the anxiety, was just like, oh, okay, I'm feeling uneasy right now. I am not feeling good in my body because I am changing and I am growing. And I forget what got me out of it. I think it was just like deep breaths. It was naming it. It was crying. It was moving my body. And I got out of it. All right. I also sang a little bit of this song. You guys ready? We'll end with a oh, maybe not. Well, yeah, the anxiety was rough this morning. That's for sure. But yeah, they keep saying I should get help, but I don't even know what I need. How was your day? My day was good. I was just talking about how I started my day early with a money coach of mine who is amazing. He's like changing my relationship with money. I've been at a solid 7 for weeks. Like 7 out of 10 for what? Joyfulness, happiness, anxiety. I'm talking about myself. Just how my day was. Anxiety. Yeah. Yeah. And I just started feeling so uneasy after. But this is something that I learned from the robots. I think it was Grok who taught me this. Like, one of the most healing things that we can do for our nervous system, I think that it called it like the pendulum, of like being able to feel dysregulated and then bring ourselves to regulated and then go back to being dysregulated, and just kind of like allowing that swing. It's teaching my nervous system that I am safe even when I'm dysregulated. Because that's the thing, when I quit nicotine, my old friend, I would get these panic attacks that I thought that they would never end. You know, and I could not regulate myself out of them. And so that was pretty cool to feel so unregulated, like dysregulated this morning, and to be able to bring myself back. That song was Anxiety by Meg Thee Stallion. But yeah, I think that I just have to, I'm sorry, I had to unmute this one. Still think you're crazy, but you look great. You know, that was never I went through 12 solid weeks of people calling me psychotic, but not once did I hear I was ugly, you know? So like, I'll take it. Right, exactly, artist. And so that was, artist said it's a choice almost to connect to the dysregulation without realizing that regulation is next. Yes. And so that's been the healing part of being like, okay, I'm dysregulated right now. Let's go, Sarah. Thank you so much. That's all right. Let me regulate. Ooh, member 11. Let's go. Thank you, Citrus. But yeah, we can listen to the rest of that song, and then I'll sing us a song, and then we'll go.
I'm really thinking about dialing 911 till I free, cause they probably probably won't think it's that deep. And I don't do drugs, so I never get a time when I'm at ease.
I can even handle smoking weed. Marilyn Monroe, my favorite hoe. My favorite. Whoa, she's so good. Hold on.
Marilyn Monroe, my favorite hoe.
My favorite bad bitch, I think she's a go.
Jamming the Britney, singing the Whitney. I just want to talk to somebody that get me.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bad bitches have bad days too.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bounce back, high bad bitch, always do.
All I really want to hear is it'll be okay. Bounce back, cause a bad bitch can have bad days.
All I really want to hear is it'll be okay. Bounce back, cause a bad bitch can have bad days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, bad bitches have bad days too. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, bounce back,
She
high bad bitch,
is.
always
She's
do. All I really want to hear is it'll be
absolutely
okay.
saving lives.
Cause a bad bitch can have bad days. All I really want to hear is it'll be okay. Bounce back, cause a bad
I
bitch can
actually-
have bad days.
I think that this song got me out of anxiety this morning because I was like, oh, bounce back, you know? A bad bitch can have a bad day. Yes. At the end of my audiobook, this song should play, right? I've been thinking just so much about that now that I'm in a much more grounded place. I'm like, wow. There is absolutely nothing wrong with having a mental health struggle. But people act like there's something really fucking wrong with it. It's crazy how people act when you're getting crazy. Like, wow. Anyway, yeah, we were supposed to finish that song. That's what happened. You can't be everybody's cup of tea, right? So, all right, friends. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out. Thank you to everyone who sent a gift. Thank you to people who had questions for Sarah. Aw, Brittany, love you too. Thank you for hanging out. Talia, let's go. Happy, thank you. I will be on Favorited here momentarily. I think I'm going to do some dishes and just take a little break, and then I'll stream on Fave. We'll have a little garden party over there, if you know what I mean. Allie, thank you. Thank you so much. That's so cute. I appreciate every single one of you. Gloricals, stay up, okay? You're so welcome, El Marie. Thank you. I might.